Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Solar Talk. I'm Shannon. We're thrilled to have you all here as we dive deep into the global solar market today, exploring the ins and outs of international trade, solar installation capacity across different countries, and the policy driven trends that could shape the future of this dynamic industry. As we all know, the solar market has been growing rapidly worldwide, driven by the urgent need for clean energy solutions and the remarkable advances in solar technology. But with growth comes complexity and understanding the global landscape, how different regions are performing, what challenges they face, and what opportunities lie has never been more important. Today, we'll start by looking at the current state of global solar market, focusing on import and export dynamics. We'll analyze how different countries are positioning themselves in this ever-competitive market and how trade policies and international agreements are influencing the flow of solar products across borders. Next, we'll shift our focus to solar installation capacities. We'll explore which countries are leading the charge in solar adoption, the factors driving the growth, and how emerging markets are catching up. Whether it's massive installation in China, the steady expansion in Europe, or the rapid developments in regions like Latin America and Africa, each market tells a unique story. Finally, we'll turn our attention to the future, given the current policy landscape ranging from government incentives and tariffs to environmental regulations and international agreements. We'll discuss the potential trajectories to the solar industry. We have got a lot to cover in this topic, and I'm thrilled to have several experts lining up during our entire season. They'll be sharing their insights and will encourage you to join the conversation. So without further ado, let's get started. Thank you for joining us, and let's dive into today's presentation. Today, we're pleased to have Mr. Wang Weiquan, the Deputy Secretary General of Chinese Renewable Energy Industries Association. Mr. Wang has 18 years of working experience in the field of renewable energy, circular economy, and climate change, mainly engaged in policy research, market analysis, and technology promotion. He is also involved in renewable energy cooperation between China, Africa, and the ASEAN many times, and has been to South Africa, Zambia, Ethiopia, Kenya, and other countries for academic exchange and training. Today, he's going to talk about global solar industry development opportunities and challenges. Now let's give the floor to Mr. Wang.
Hello, everyone. I'm Wang Weiquan from Chinese Renewable Energy Industries Association. I'm very glad to be here with you about the global solar industry development opportunities and challenges. My presentation is divided into three parts. The first part is global solar installation status quo, followed by opportunities and challenges in solar development. And lastly is feasible actions to accelerate the solar capacity. Okay, let's see what's going on for the solar installation across the world. In 2023, the solar industry is booming again. By 2023, the total capacity for solar installed capacity is about 1,600 gigawatt. And among them, China is taking the lead, followed by European Union and USA. And for the new capacity in 2023, it's about 477 gigawatt. And for China, it's about 235 gigawatt to 277 gigawatt. And for EU, it's about 55 gigawatt. And for US, it's about 30 gigawatt. And by 2023, globally, at least 29 countries installed more than 1 gigawatt, while in 2022, it's only 25 countries. Now, 19 countries have more than 10 gigawatt of the total capacity, and 5 have more than 40 gigawatt. And from the chart, you can see China is taking the lead, followed by European Union, and the third one is US. And for the annual and accumulative installed capacity for solar PV, we can get more information here. On the left is the annual installed capacity, and on the right is the cumulative capacity. So we can see that China, European, and the United States are ranking the top 3 in 2023. And the other countries including India, Japan, Brazil, Spain, Australia, Italy, Netherlands, etc. And which region across the world is taking the lead of the global market? We can get the answer from this figure. The solar PV started in 2000, and from 2000 to 2023, the global market is booming. And at the beginning, Asia Pacific, including China, are taking the lead, and then Europe taking the lead. From 2017, China is taking the lead. By 2023, China is accounting for 40% of the total capacity. The scale is speeding up, both for the rooftop and the utility scale. You can see in every year, both the utility scale and the rooftop solar PV are increasing year by year. And by 2023, rooftop is accounting for over 40% of the total capacity, and the rest is the utility scale, especially for the area or for the countries who don't have so much land for solar PV projects. For example, Japan, Germany, and East China and Central China, because in those areas where are very populated, there are so many people there, so the land is scarce. So in those areas, the rooftop or the distributed solar PV projects are being developed now. And for the per capita installed capacity, Australia, Netherlands, and Germany are the top 3 countries. For Australia, each person has 1,300 watt on average, and Netherlands is about 1,200, and for Germany it's about 1,000 watt for each person, and for China it's less than 500 watt for each person. And for the PV penetration, or the percentage of the solar power in the total power generation, we can see Spain, Netherlands, and Chile are taking the lead. The percentage of solar power are almost 20%, while in China, the penetration of solar PV is a little lower compared to Spain, Netherlands, and Chile. Yeah, we can get the specific data here. By 2023, the solar power in China is accounting for 6.2% of the total power generation. And you can see in the figure, the blue is hydro, the gray is thermal power, and the red is nuclear, and the blue and green is wind power, and the orange is solar power. By 2023, the thermal power is over 60%. So it means for China, there is a long way to go to get enough clean power and to get enough renewable energy power by 2060. So it also means for solar PV and wind power, there are a huge room for them in the future. Let's see what kind of opportunities and challenges in solar development. The first opportunity is the UAE consensus brings new opportunities for global renewable energy development. According to the UAE consensus at COP28, the renewable energy capacity will triple by 2030. And in 2022, the total capacity of renewables is about 30,300 gigawatt. If each triples, it will be 10,000 gigawatt by 2030, according to the data from IRENA from 2013 to 2022. The annual growth of renewables ranged from 7.8 in 2019 to 10.6% in 2020. However, if we want to triple renewables by 2030, the annual growth rate is about 15%. So in the next 7 or 10 years, the renewables will be speed up, especially for solar and wind. And the second opportunity is that the investment of PV projects is decreasing very dramatically. You can see from 2007 to 2023, both the costs for the solar modules and the solar systems are decreasing sharply. The costs are decreased by over 90%. It means it's more competitive compared to fossil fuel. It can be more affordable for the power users, for the ordinary people. So in the future, more and more regions and countries can use solar power. The third opportunity is that more and more diversified applications of solar energy is coming up. You can see the solar panels can be set up on grassland, above the water, on the hills and mountains, on the surface of the water. It can be combined with the agriculture. It can be set up on the rooftop of the factories. It can be integrated into the buildings. It can also be integrated with our daily life. It can be set up on the back of on the bags, on the heads, in the chargers, even on the chairs or seats. Through the diversified scenarios, more and more people are familiar with solar projects, are willing to use clean energy. Not only the producers, but also the consumers can benefit, can accept solar energy in the future. However, for solar energy, there are still some barriers to be overcome for the large-scale development. The first one is the difficulty of increasing the penetration rate of PV continues to rise. As we all know, the solar energy and the wind energy are not stable. So if more and more wind energy and solar energy integrated into the power grid, it will cause the problems of the power grid, and the power grid will be not stable. So how to make the power grid can accept more and more renewables? That's a bigger challenge. Now many countries and many areas, many regions are trying to solve the problems by energy storage, by gas or nuclear power peak shaving, according to the estimation by 2060 in China. Wind power and solar power will account for over 60% of the total power generation. However, now the solar power and the wind power only account for 16%. So there is a bigger gap between 60 now and 60 by 2060. And the second challenge is the land use and the sea use, because the renewables such as wind power and solar PV, the energy density is low, which means they will cover more areas compared to thermal power. However, in many countries or in many regions, the land is scarce. So in those areas, they don't have enough land or sea to develop solar PV and wind power. So in the future, how to make a full use of the land or the sea and the buildings for power generation is also a challenge. The third challenge is how to dispose or recycle the wind turbines and the solar modules when they are decommissioned. You can see some wind turbines are stacking up at landfill or burned. All of these methods or these approaches to dispose wind blades is not good. So in the future, we should try our best to recycle, reuse solar modules and wind blades when they are decommissioned. Especially in the future, more and more wind turbines and solar modules will be set up. If the decommissioned wind turbines and solar modules are not disposed well, they will cause a bigger problem for the environment. The last challenge is how to get enough financing for solar power projects. For many developing countries, they have a low national credibility and they are difficult to get enough financing. And on the other hand, the project operation and maintenance is poor in those countries. It will lead to the risk of the project income. And the financing cost in those countries is high. It's more than 10%, even 16%. All of these are a bigger problem for renewable energy financing. However, financing is very important, it's crucial. If we want to develop renewable energy in very large scale, financing is necessary, because financing is like blood for people. Without financing, no renewables. So what can we do to speed up solar capacity in the future? We can develop a comprehensive policy framework and ensure the implementation of the policies. For example, we can make the renewable energy law, renewable energy development plans, standard and criterion formulation, physical and tax support policies, etc. Through this kind of policy framework, we can release the strong signal for the investors, for the stakeholders, that the renewable energy is emphasized. It will boom in the future, and through the renewables, the investors and the stakeholders can benefit from the renewable energy development. From the Chinese experience and from the experience of Germany, Japan, and the US, we can make a conclusion. Without policies, the renewable energy can be developed very well. So, firstly, we should make a comprehensive policy framework to support renewables. And secondly, we can intensify technology innovation and integrate power generation, grid, load, and storage together. For power plants, it should be digitalized, it should be more intelligent, and we can enhance the grid friendliness of the power generation. And then for the power grid, we should build a high voltage grid and improve the distribution grid. A strong and smart grid system should be set up. And for the power load, the flexibility should be improved. And we can increase the matching of the power source and the load to support the power system. And we can also use the energy storage to integrate more and more renewables into the power grid. For example, the pump storage, the new type energy storage technology such as the lithium ion energy storage, the compressed air energy storage, etc. So basically, the power generation, the power plants, the power grid, the power load, and energy storage can be integrated into each other systematically. And thirdly, we can intensify the talent cultivation to provide more talents for PV industry. We can train the policymakers, the technical R&D personnel, the entrepreneurs, the technical workers, the general public, and even the news and the media. We should get more and more people involved in the solar PV sector to make them better understand the renewables, to better understand the solar PV. And in this way, we can create a good enabling environment for solar sector. And last but the least is to intensify the physical and financial support to reduce the financing difficulty. We can promote the green financing, inclusive financing, tax reduction, feed-in tariff, etc. to make the projects more profitable, more bankable, and to raise the income of the projects and to benefit more and more people. And to sum up, in the future, there will be a huge room for solar capacity, even though there are some barriers as well. However, we can take actions, we can make measures, we can take actions to solve the problem.